Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Hope you are all doing well. As you know that we are discussing the different tribal groups in different parts of India living during the British period. And as you know that tribals are those communities who are living in the forests, and they have a particular set of life. They are bonded together by kinship. They all think that the tribals are all the members of one tribe. They are just like brothers. They are relatives, and they work together to make their living, to earn their living, to make their living. And most of the tribes, as you know that, they depended on forests for their living. As we know that forest is a place where everything which we require for living, it is present there. We can find everything, almost everything that makes the basic, which is the basic of the life, which are the basic needs of the life. We can find them in forests. And these tribals, they lived in forests. They were they were far away from the human settlements, living their own life and earning everything. And they ate different fruits, leaves, fruits of different plants, leaves of different plants or trees, and they also used many shrubs and herbs, plants for medicinal herbs and shrubs for curing different diseases. And they were living their own style of life that was different from those people who were really living in villages or in cities. And we found that when the Britishers emerged on the political horizon of India, we found that many important changes emerged in the life of the tribals. How? Because first of all, we see that there was classification of forests under the Britishers. When the British took over the country, they started they started making laws, and one of the important thing on which they made their laws were the forests. Forests were there was before the Britishers. There was no classification of forests. We were people. As a result, when Britishers emerged on the political horizon of India, we see that the life of tribals witnessed many important changes. First of all, the forest laws were made in India. There was classification of forests, and one of the important type of forests was those of the reserve forests. They were first of all, forests were declared as a state property. They were declared by the Britishers as their own property. So what happened? One of the first classification of forests was that of reserve forests. Reserve forests were those forests where collecting fruits, collecting fuel, or collecting fodder, and cutting wood that was prohibited, or any sort of cultivation was strictly prohibited. Britishers did not allow the tribals to enter into those forests, and they were specially reserved by the Britishers for their own use, like the building of railways and for other construction purposes. But the tribe, so what happened? Soon the British realized that there was shortage of labor, which they would use in the forests for cutting trees or transporting logs from one place to another. So what happened? There was shortage of labor. As a result, the Britishers started giving many concessions to the tribals. Many tribal groups were given permission to collect fuel, to collect fodder or collect fruits, and they were also given right to practice jhum cultivation. And But in return, they have to do. They have to provide labor when the Britishers needed in the foresters, and they also had to protect the foresters. So all this was, but as we see, the Britishers, the tribals were not satisfied with all this. So many, they start realizing that the Britishers, the moneylanders, the traders, they were interfering into their the old lifestyle, their lifestyle their ancestors enjoyed during the medieval times or the ancient times. They are not enjoying that kind of lifestyle. So they felt that there was an interference of the different outside groups who are interfering into their lives. So what they did, as we see, many revolts emerged. Many revolts were started by different tribal groups like the Santhalas, like the different tribals. We witnessed that they started revolting against the Britishers. And one of the famous one of the important person who led an important revolt against the Britishers was Birsa Munda. He was a member of a Munda tribal group. What he did, he led an important revolt against the Britishers. Let's have a look at this. How did he revolted against the Britishers? In last lesson we had discussed some of it. Let us discuss it further. In 1895, Birsa urged his what worried British officials most was the political aim of the Birsa movement, for it wanted to drive out missionaries, moneylenders, Hindu landlords, and the government, and set up a Munda Raj with Birsa as its head. जो ब्रिटिश ऑफिशियल्स थे उनको क्या प्रॉब्लम होती थी इस बिरसा मूवमेंट से, जो दैट मूवमेंट विच वाज लेड बाय बिरसा. तो ये बिरसा ने मूवमेंट जो चलाई, जो तहरीक चलाई, उसका एक ही मकसद था, टू ड्राइव अवे द ब्रिटिशर्स फ्रॉम देयर एरिया. वो चाहता था कि ब्रिटिशर जो हैं ये यहाँ से दफा हो जाए, ये यहाँ से चले जाए. इसी तरह जो मनी लैंडर्स हैं ये भी यहाँ से चले जाए, हिंदू लैंड लॉर्ड्स हैं इसी तरह, और ऐसी गवर्नमेंट बन जाए जिसका हेड जो है बिरसा होना चाहिए, बिरसा मुंडा. द मूवमेंट आइडेंटिफाइड ऑल दिस फोर्सेस एज द कॉज ऑफ द मिजरी द मुंडाज वर सफरिंग. तो ये समझते थे कि जो हमारी सफरिंग्स हैं, जो हमारी प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, इस सब का जो कॉज हैं वो यही हैं. ब्रिटिशर्स हैं, मनी लैंडर्स हैं, ट्रेडर्स हैं, हिंदू लैंड लॉर्ड्स हैं, ठीक है. इसी तरह मिशनरीज में हैं. द लैंड पॉलिसी ऑफ द ब्रिटिशर्स वाज डिस्ट्रॉइंग द ट्रेडिशनल लैंड सिस्टम. जो ब्रिटिशर्स के लैंड पॉलिसीज थी, डिफरेंट लैंड सेटलमेंट्स उन्हें लाए, लैंड रेवेन्यू फिक्स किया, लैंड क्लासिफिकेशन शुरू की, और जो मिडिल मैन थे जो यहाँ टैक्स कलेक्टर्स थे, तो इस सब से वो जो ट्राइबल्स हैं ये बहुत नाराज थे. Hindu landlords and moneylenders were taking over their land and missionaries were criticizing their traditional culture. जो हिंदू लैंडलॉर्ड्स हैं या मनी लैंडर्स हैं, जब मनी लैंडर उनको इंटरेस्ट पे लोन पे करता था, जब ट्राइबल्स वापस उनको नहीं पे कर सकते थे, फिर जो उनकी जमीन जो है वो उनको उस पैसे के एवज जो है उनकी जमीन को हड़प करता था. तो अब क्या हुआ, और वो मिशनरीज के अगेंस्ट थे ट्राइबल्स के. उन्होंने इनको कहा कि ये बैकवर्ड है, अनसिविलाइज्ड है, उनका जो कल्चर है ये ट्रेडिशनल कल्चर है, दैट इज इट हैज कंटिन्यूड डाउन फ्रॉम centuries. It is an old culture. So they started criticizing their culture. As the movement spread out, the British officials decided to act. They arrested Birsa in 1895, convicted him on the charge of writing and jailed him for 2 years. जब ये मूवमेंट बहुत फैला तो ब्रिटिश ऑफिशियल ने किया उन्होंने एकदम से बिरसा मुंडा को अरेस्ट किया 1895 में, और उसमें चार्जेस लगाए बगावत के, और उसको जेल भेजा 2 साल के लिए. When Birsa was released in 1897, he began touring the village to gather support. जब बिरसा को 1897 में 2 साल के बाद रिहा किया गया, तो उसने अब क्या किया, उसने अब जो विलेजेस का दौरा शुरू किया ताकि लोग जो हैं उसको सपोर्ट करें. He used traditional symbols and language to rouse people, urging them to destroy Ravana, dikus and the Europeans and establish a kingdom under his leadership. उसने क्या किया, उसने ट्रेडिशनल सिंबल्स यूज़ किए, मतलब अपना कल्चर यूज़ किया, अपनी लैंग्वेज यूज़ किए, और उनको बताया कि हमारे इंसेस्टर्स कैसे अपनी जो लाइफ है वो आज़ादी से बसर करते थे, उनकी लिविंग क्या थी. अब अब जो आउटसाइडर्स आ गए हैं, मनी लैंडर्स, हिंदू लैंडलॉर्ड्स या इसी तरह ब्रिटिशर्स या ट्रेडर्स, उनकी आने की वजह से हमारी लाइफ कैसे इन्फ्लुएंस हो गई. तो उसने यही शुरू किया, इसी को काज बताया कि चूँकि हमारी सफरिंग्स हैं उनका जो बेसिक काज है ये सब हैं. बिरसाज followers began targeting the symbols of Diku and European power. जो उनके बिरसा ने क्या किया, जो उनके सिंबल्स थे, मिसाल के तौर पर जो मनी लैंडर्स थे, उनके जो पैलेसेस थे या हाउसेस थे या फार्मर्स थे, उन पे अटैक किया, या इसी तरह उनके जो एक किस्म के बैंकर्स हैं क्या, या इसी तरह जो ट्रेडर्स थे उनके घरों पे अटैक किया, या इसी तरह ब्रिटिश ऑफिशियल्स थे, ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट को जो सिंबल्स थे लाइक रेलवे लाइनर्स, लाइक इसी तरह ब्रिटिश मतलब पुलिस स्टेशन, डिफरेंट ऑफिस, या इसी तरह मुख्तलिफ गवर्नमेंट बिल्डिंग्स जो हैं उन पे अटैक किया. They attacked police stations and churches and raided the property of money lenders and zimindars. They raised the white flag as a symbol of Birsa Raj. और उन्होंने white flag भी जो है उसको रेज किया, उसको white flag को जो है रेज किया, व्हाइट फ्लैग को रेज किया. इसका व्हाइट फ्लैग जो है ये बिरसा राज का सिंबल था. इन 1900 बिरसा डाइड ऑफ कॉलरा एंड द मूवमेंट फेडेड आउट. 1900 में क्या हुआ, जो बिरसा था वो बेचारा कॉलरा से मर गया. कॉलरा एक ऐसी बीमारी है जो गंदे पानी की वजह से पैदा होती है. तो ये कॉलरा से मर गया बेचारा. एंड द मूवमेंट फेडेड आउट, और इसी के साथ जो ये मूवमेंट है ये खत्म हो गई. खत्म नहीं हुई तो उसका जो जोर था वो बहुत कम हुआ. हाउएवर द मूवमेंट वाज सिग्निफिकेंट इन एटलीस्ट 2 ways. 2 चीजों की वजह से ये मूवमेंट बहुत सिग्निफिकेंट रहा, इंपॉर्टेंट रहा. फर्स्ट, इट फोर्सेस द कॉलोनियल गवर्नमेंट टू इंट्रोड्यूस लॉज सो दैट द लैंड ऑफ द ट्राइब्स कुड नॉट बी इजीली टेकन ओवर बाय डिकूज. बस पहला जो इंपॉर्टेंट सिग्निफिकेंट जो अहम जो चीज है वो यही हुई कि पहले जो कॉलोनियल गवर्नमेंट है, ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट है, उन्होंने ऐसे लॉज बनाए जिससे जो ट्राइबल्स के लैंड जो हैं वो जो आउटसाइड जो मनी लैंडर्स थे या ट्रेडर्स थे या हिंदू लैंड लॉर्ड्स, वो इसको आसानी से मतलब टेक ओवर नहीं कर सकते थे. Second, it showed once again that the tribal people had the capacity to protest against injustice and express their anger against the colonial rule. They did this in their own specific way, inventing their own rituals and symbols of struggle. और दूसरा उन्होंने ये भी मतलब शो किया कि we have the power to attack anybody, attack the government or the moneylenders or traders whenever they felt that injustice is done to them. तो ये सब उन्होंने दिखाया और उन्होंने अपने तरीके से इस सब के खिलाफ स्ट्रगल किया, अपने सिंबल्स ऑफ स्ट्रगल बनाए. थैंक यू. दैट्स ऑल फॉर टुडे.